Change who you spend your time with. According to research, the people that you habitually associate yourself with are called your reference group. The people that you hang out with the most is called your reference group. And these people determine, watch this now, this is research. These people determine 95% of your success or 95% of your failure. The people that you hang around with, your reference group, determines 95% of your success or 95% of your failures. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. I'm Larry Davis, and this is the Growth State of Mind. Proverbs 27:7 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." Now, this verse is the essence of what we're going to talk about today. And my topic today is how growth thrives in conducive environments. And we're going to talk about how environment plays a key role in our personal growth. And so whether you're seeking personal growth or you're just looking to grow in your career, or you just want to have a better overall life, you want to have a better well-being in your life, this is a video that you will want to watch. And so before we get started, I just want to say, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscription button, and also hit the notification button so that you can get updated, so that you can get alerted when updates come out, when new episodes come out. And so I just want to say that. So hey, let's just jump right in. At some point in everybody's lives, there's gonna come a time that you need to move or you need to change your environment in order to grow. Like, that's gonna come that point in everybody's life, whether you recognize it or not. Regardless of the environment that you're in, whether you're in a good environment or a bad environment, especially a bad environment. But even in a good environment, or what you think is a good environment, if you are continually growing, you're going to outgrow that environment. And so at some point in everybody's lives, there's going to come a time where you need to change your environment. You need to move in order to grow or in order to keep growing. And if we want to grow and reach our potential, we have to be in the right environment. That's just plain and simple. And so there's going to come a time where you need to recognize that need for change. Because I'll say it like this: even if you're in a good environment, even if you are in a good environment, you got to recognize when you've outgrown that environment. Because if you're always the smartest person in the room, you probably need to get in a better room or a bigger room. And so it may even come down to that. And so, but change is something that we all have to do at some point in our lives. Change for the better. And change, basically, it depends on your choices. It's going to come down to the choices that you make. That's how you change. The choices that you make. And there's a saying that says, there's a quote that says, whether you are a success or a failure in life, it has little to do with your circumstances. It has more to do with your choices. And so regardless of what the situation that you're in, it's not necessarily about your circumstances, it's your choices. You have to make the choice to move, to get in a new environment. You have to make a choice to understand when you need to make a move, right? And so when it comes to our environment, there are 6 choices that we need to make in order to put ourselves in a better place for growth. And I'm gonna give you those 6 things. The first thing is this: the number one choice that you need to make is you need to make the choice to evaluate your current environment. You need to evaluate and assess your current environment. Assess where you are right now. Evaluate where you are right now. Look around. Think about, what is it about this environment that's keeping me from growing? What is it about this environment that is not aligning with where I see myself? What is it about this environment that's holding me back? Like, you gotta evaluate those specific things, because here's the thing: just because you need to change just for the sake of change is not gonna work. You gotta know why you're changing. You can't just wake up one day and just say, I'm gonna change, and not even know why you're changing. You gotta know why you're changing, because that's what's gonna help you to understand what you need to do. That's gonna help you to understand where you need to go next. Like, you need to know where you are. And so and also you got to make the right changes, because if you don't properly evaluate your current situation, you're not going to make the right changes. You're going to make changes that don't even make sense. You might make changes that don't even help you. And so you need to evaluate your environment so that you know that you're making the right changes and doing the right things when you do those. And so if you're going to make changes, you need to make sure that they're the right ones. And you do that by evaluating where you are now and why do you want to change. And one of the ways to evaluate whether you're in a conducive environment for growth is to discern whether you're looking forward or whether you are looking back. Let me break that down. You can determine what type of environment that you are in by just the level of conversation in that environment. Like, what are people talking about in this environment? Are we looking forward to things that are ahead, or are we looking back at things that we've done? Like, that's a great way to discern what type of environment you are in. Because if you're in an environment to where if you are around people that all y'all talk about is the good old days and the things that you used to do and back in the day and all that, then you're not growing. You're not going anywhere. Because if you spend most of your time talking about the past and what things used to be like and what it used to be, then you're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything. You want to be in an environment to where you're dreaming and you're looking forward to things that to come. You're looking forward to things that you want to accomplish. That's how you can determine what type of environment you're in. Are y'all talking about the good old days, or are you talking about what we're going to do next? How we're going to get to the next level? And if you're anything like me, you have an intuitive sense to know when it's time to grow, when it's time to make a change, when you're not in an environment that is conducive and supportive to you growing. The second thing is this: you need to change yourself and your environment. Notice I didn't say change yourself or your environment. I said change yourself and your environment. You can't just change one. You got to change both, because it's not going to work if you just change one. For instance, if you just change yourself and try to stay in the same environment, it's not going to work. If you try to get better, if you try to rise up and you stay in the same environment, it's not going to work, because every time you try to rise up, they're going to pull you back down. Every time you try to rise up and go to the next level and go higher and improve yourself and get better, your environment is going to pull you back down because you're in that same old environment. And so it's not enough to just change yourself. It's like the crab mentality. I know you heard of the crab mentality, to where you have crabs in a bucket, and every time one of the crabs tries to climb out, all the other crabs just pull them back down. That's what's going to happen if you just try to change yourself and stay in the same old environment. You try to change yourself and you try to stay in the same old neighborhood. If you try to change yourself and stay in the same community, if you try to change yourself and stay in the same job, it's not going to work. You're going to be frustrated, because every time you try to get better, people are going to hold you back. Every time you try to rise up, they're going to pull you back down. So it doesn't make sense to just change yourself and stay in the same old place. And the opposite is true. If you just try to change your environment, you just try to go to a new place and don't change yourself, it's not going to work either. You got people who go from one job to the next complaining, because they complain about the job and they complain about the environment, but they never do anything to change themselves. They never evaluate themselves. They never take a look in the mirror and see, okay, how did I contribute to this? And they go from one thing to the next, one idea to the next idea, without ever thinking about, what do I need to do to change? Where did I go wrong? And so that's not going to work either if you just try to change your environment, because wherever you go, you take yourself with you. Wherever you go, there you will be. You can try to change your environments all you want, and you don't change yourself, you're going to bring those same... See, the thing about it is, you're going to bring the same mindset and the same old habits to your new environment. And what could end up happening is you could end up contaminating that new environment because of you bringing your old ways of thinking to that new environment. And so that doesn't help you at all. So what you have to do is you have to change yourself, you have to work on yourself, and you have to change your environment. You have to do both in order to be successful at it. And so you want to be in a growth environment. And so what does a growth environment look like? I know I'm talking about being in a growth environment. You're probably saying, okay, well, what does that look like? What do you mean by growth environment? Well, I'll tell you this. A growth environment is an environment that's that's just conducive to growth. It's just an environment that where it supports your need to grow. Like, it's an environment that continually challenges you to get better every day. It's an environment to where other people in there are striving and growing and trying to get better and better and trying to go to the next level. It's a place where other people are supportive of you trying to get better. It's a place where other people, it's an environment that's affirming to you, right? It's an environment that supports you. It's a place, an environment that even though they support you and they affirm you, they also push you to go out of your comfort zone. They don't just let you be mediocre. It's people that push you to get better and better. And so that's what a growth environment looks like. It's an environment to where people are not afraid of failure, right? Because a lot of times people don't accomplish their goals is because they're afraid of failure. Some people don't even try. But in a growth environment, nobody is going to criticize you if you fail. Because here's the thing, you're going to fail. That's just life. You're going to fail at something. But if you're in a growth environment, they're just going to encourage you, okay, to get back up, try it again, or get back up and try something different. Like nobody, you don't have to feel embarrassed by being failing at something because you're in an environment to where people don't worry about that because they fail a lot of things and they just keep going. Like a lot of successful people, if you look at a lot of entrepreneurs and people who have done some great things, they got a lot of failures. But they never let those failures hold them back. They never let those failures stop them from doing something else, to coming up with the next idea and the next idea. They just kept going. And so that's what a growth environment is like. It's like people and things that are not worried about failure. They just keep going. They just keep going. Because if you're in a different type of environment, an environment that's not conducive to growth, then when you fail, yeah, you can feel embarrassed because some people may laugh at you, or people are afraid themselves. And so a growth environment is the complete opposite. It's a place where you can challenge yourself to do things, and if you fall short, then hey, it's okay, because everybody else is reaching and striving to get better and better and to grow. Are you tired of feeling overwhelmed? Do you find yourself constantly battling negative thoughts? Well, I created a resource that I believe that can help. The majority of fights in life are fought in our head. And so the question is, how can we start to win these battles? Well, that's why I created a 7-day Bible plan called Mind Over Matter, Winning the Battle in Your Mind. This is a 7-day Bible plan that helps us learn how to combat the negative thoughts and get rid of irrational beliefs and begin to win the battle in our minds using God's Word as our strategy. Imagine waking up feeling empowered and ready to conquer any challenge that comes your way. When you win the battle in your mind, when you have mind over matter, you can do just that. You'll learn how to reframe your thoughts, replace self-doubt with self-belief, and develop a positive mindset that will lead you in the right direction. The 7-day plan is called Mind Over Matter, Winning the Battle in Your Mind. There's a link in the description below. You can click on that link and get the 7-day plan delivered to your inbox every day for 7 straight days. Just use the link in the description below to sign up and start winning the battle in your mind. Okay, let me give you number 3. Number 3 is change who you spend your time with. Like, this is the most important out of the 6. Number 3 is the most important. Change who you spend your time with. According to research, the people that you habitually associate yourself with are called your reference group. It's called, the people that you hang out with the most is called your reference group. And these people determine, watch this now, this is research. These people determine 95% of your success or 95% of your failure. The people that you hang around with, your reference group, determines 95% of your success or 95% of your failures. Now that's research that says that. And I believe it to be true. The people that you hang around with are going to determine your success or your failure. Most of it. And if you don't believe that, there's scripture to back it up. There's Proverbs 13:20 says, walk with the wise and become wise. Associate with fools and get in trouble. And so when we choose to associate with wise people, guess what? We become wise. We grow in wisdom when we choose to associate with people. And then the opposite is true. If you choose to associate with fools, you become a fool, right? And so we see that in scripture. If you want to become wise, walk with the wise. Get around wise people. If you want to be a person that's growing in wisdom. There's a saying that says that the difference between where you are today and where you will be in 5 years from now is determined by the people you hang around with and the books you read. And I know a lot of people. A lot of people don't even read books. And so just that right there alone is going to determine where you are in 5 years. If you're not reading, if you're not growing, if you're not expanding your knowledge, right? That's one thing. But the most important thing is the people that you're around. The people that you're around is going to determine where you are in 5 years from now. That for me, that opens my eyes. That makes me sensitive to who I'm around. That makes me evaluate my circle. Just knowing that. And I believe that's true. I believe that exactly what happened. Because you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out, that you spend the most time with. You can always tell. You can tell a person's quality of life. You can tell a person's quality of their attitude. You can tell a person's income level. Most of the time, probably not all the time, but most of the time, you can tell a person's income level just about the people that they hang around with, the people that they associate with. Like, the people that you associate with can affect your income. If you hang around with broke people, you end up broke. If you hang around people who are, trying to grow their income, people who are trying to get better in life, people who are trying to go to the next level, then most likely you will go to the next level as well. Like, the people that you're around, you start to do what they do. You start to think the way they think. You start to eat what they eat. You start to watch what they watch. You end up just like them. And so the most significant factor in anybody's environment is the people. And so if you don't change nothing else, at least change the people that you're around. And I say this, and the reason why I say that is because sometimes you may not be able to control the environment that you're in 100% of the time. I know there's all types of situations. Sometimes you may not be able to just up and move from a state. You may not be able to just go to another state. You may not be able to just change jobs like that. And so the least thing that you can do is change the people that you're around. Even if you are stuck in an environment and you can't move as easily, at least change the people that you're hanging around. Because that right there is going to give you at least some hope if you can just change the people that you're around. Because like I said, you become the average of the 5 people that you hang around the most. And number 4 is challenge yourself in a new environment. Once you get to your new environment, you need to challenge yourself. One of the most positive things about being in a good growth environment is that it gives you room to fly. It gives you room to challenge yourself because other people are challenging themselves as well. So you're not the only one. If you're in a good environment, you won't be the only person that's trying to challenge yourself because everybody's trying to challenge themselves to get better, to go to the next level. And so one of the best ways that you can challenge yourself is to make your goals public. Like, tell somebody your goals. Tell somebody what you're trying to achieve. Tell somebody in your circle, in your group, like what you're trying to do. Let them know what your goals are. Because one of the things that will push you, one of the most effective ways to push you to reach your goals is to tell people what you got going on, because it does 2 things. It gives you a deadline and it gives you an audience. It gives you a deadline because once you tell people, they're going to be expecting, like if you say, in 6 months, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, those people are going to expect in 6 months, they're going to expect you to do what you said you were going to do. And if you don't tell anybody, you can just kind of keep pushing that date back and keep pushing it back. But once you tell people, they're going to, in 6 months, they're going to come back and say, hey, did you do what you said you was going to do? Like, they're going to be looking for it. They're going to hold you accountable. And that's the thing. And the other thing about it is you're going to have the pressure of having people look at you. And that's a good thing. The pressure of people looking at you and holding you accountable and checking in with you and saying, hey, how's it going? Where are you at right now? Where are you at on reaching your goal? Right? And that's a good thing. We need that. We need that push in order to do things. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to always achieve our goals just because we told somebody. Because you can still fail. Because, like I said, failure is a part of life. But because you're in a good growth environment, it's not going to be so bad. You're not going to have to, you're not going to feel embarrassed if you don't reach your goals. You're not going to feel ashamed if you don't reach your goals, because you're going to fail. And you're going to have people in that environment that's going to tell you that's okay. You get it the next time. Or that's okay. Maybe you try something different or whatever. And it's just a way that you just keep going and keep learning. Because even if you fail, you're going to learn something. And so at the end of the day, it's all about learning. And so the point is this. The point is to not be afraid to challenge yourself. The fifth thing is this. Number 5, focus on the moment. Focus on the moment. The change that we want to make in our life is in this present moment, right here, right today. Today is the day to where everything that's going to happen from now on, today is the day it begins. Focus on the moment. Be present in the moment. Because yesterday is gone. It's gone. We only have today. And if you want to make changes in yourself and your environment, you don't dwell on the past. Don't dwell on what happened in the past. All that is gone. All that is over with. Only thing you can focus on is today and move forward. So if you're listening to me right now, you don't have to feel ashamed. You don't have to get down on yourself. You don't have to feel defeated because of what you've done in the past. You just focus on where you are today and focus on moving forward. Because the only thing you can do is focus on this current moment and what you need to do from today to get better. The last thing is this, number 6. Number 6 is move forward despite criticism. See, growth always comes from taking action. It always comes from taking action. And when you take action, almost always you're going to get criticized. But I'm here to tell you, move forward anyway. Despite the criticism, move forward anyway. And here's why you get criticized. Because most people, they underestimate themselves. They underestimate themselves. And they underestimate what they can do. And they underestimate their potential. And because they underestimate themselves and their potential, they only go after things that they think that they can reach. They only try to do things that they think they can accomplish. They don't try to do things that are beyond what they believe about themselves. And because they don't believe in themselves and they don't believe that they can reach certain things, when you try to go after things, they tell you, oh, you can't do that. That can't be done. And it's because of their fear. It's because they are afraid to do things themselves. They think that you can't do it either. And they try to hold you back. And that's the problem. And every time that you try to reach for something, they're going to hold you back and tell you you can't do that. And they criticize you for things that they can't do. And I'll tell you, you have to not let that impact you. You have to not let that affect you. Because here's the thing, it's your future. It's your future. If you don't create the future that you want, you're going to be forced to have to live with the future that you get. You're going to have to be forced to tolerate the future that you get. And so just know that when you take action to change yourself, to make yourself better, and to change your environment, you might be criticized for it. But that's okay. That's okay. Just move forward anyway. Because whatever you decide to do in life, where you go, there's going to always be somebody to tell you that you're doing the wrong thing. But you can't worry about that because it's your life and you need to take charge of your life. And when you take charge of your life, then you no longer need the opinion and the permission from other people to move forward. So if you like what you heard today, you might want to check out a video I did on how to become more intentional with your growth. If you want to watch that video, just click or tap the screen and I'll see you in the next video.